We've been taught that history is a straight line, from primitive to advanced. But what if that's wrong? What if ancient civilizations had technology so advanced it rivals what we have today? Sounds crazy? Let's take a deep dive into the mind-blowing evidence that challenges everything we know. In 1901, divers discovered something strange off the coast of Antikythera, Greece. A corroded bronze box, inside intricate gears, dials, and inscriptions. It was later called the Antikythera mechanism, and it dates back to 100 BCE. This ancient device could predict eclipses, planetary movements, and even Olympic Games. That's not just impressive. That's ancient computational technology. But how did they do it? The gears were microscopic, with tolerances comparable to 18th century clocks. This was 1,700 years before the invention of anything remotely similar. No other device like it has been found since. So, did the Greeks invent this alone, or inherit knowledge from an older civilization? And it's not just Greece. Let's talk Egypt. Everyone knows about the pyramids, but do we really understand them? The Great Pyramid of Giza isn't just a tomb. It's aligned almost perfectly with true north. Its base is level to within a fraction of an inch. It encodes the value of pi and the golden ratio, and it's made of 2.3 million stones, some weighing up to 80 tons. Even with today's machines, replicating this structure would be a challenge. Mainstream archaeologists say it was built with copper tools and sledges, but no one's ever found actual blueprints or definitive evidence of the construction process. No records, no hieroglyphs explaining how. That's like building the Empire State Building and leaving no trace of how you did it. Something doesn't add up. Let's head to South America. In Peru, the Sacsayhuamán fortress walls are made of stones cut so precisely they fit together without mortar. Not even a blade of grass can fit between them. Some of these stones weigh over 100 tons and were hauled from miles away, over hills and rivers. The Inca? They didn't even have the wheel. So who built these walls? And how? Jump across to Easter Island. You've seen the Moai statues, massive stone heads carved from volcanic rock. What most people don't know is that these statues have entire bodies buried beneath the ground. Some weigh up to 80 tons and were transported miles across rugged terrain. The islanders say the statues walked to their locations. Just mythology or something else? Now, consider India. The Vimanas, flying machines described in ancient Sanskrit texts, weren't just poetic. They included technical specifications, materials, propulsion systems, flight maneuvers. Some passages mention Mercury engines and anti-gravity. Could it all be fantasy or ancient aerospace engineering? Are we dismissing ancient science as myth simply because we don't understand it? But it doesn't stop there. In 2015, archaeologists discovered a metallic sphere embedded in 2.8 billion-year-old rock in South Africa. It had perfectly symmetrical grooves etched around its circumference. Geologists say it's natural. Others insist it was machined. By who, though? What if we're looking at proof of an ancient, forgotten technology? These aren't isolated anomalies. They're scattered all over the globe. In Bolivia's Puma Punku, you'll find massive stones that were not just cut, but laser-level precise, with 90-degree angles and perfect drill holes. Some of these stones weigh over 100 tons, yet they were moved and assembled without mortar. Modern stonemasons have said they'd struggle to replicate the craftsmanship. Something doesn't add up, and history books don't want to talk about it. Some researchers suggest that ancient civilizations may have used vibrational sound technology to cut and move stone. It sounds wild, but the idea isn't new. Ancient legends often mention sound being used to lift objects. Even the Egyptian priest Manetho wrote about chanting that made stones float. It's fringe science, but fringe science has changed the world before. What if the answers we seek lie in the myths we ignore? Let's jump to ancient Mesopotamia, the so-called cradle of civilization. In Iraq, tablets over 5,000 years old describe something called mystical tablets that contained all knowledge of civilization, from writing to weaponry. Were these just metaphors for knowledge? Or could they refer to actual technological artifacts? Some texts even describe these as glowing, humming, or impossible to destroy. Did ancient elites possess devices that functioned like computers? Across the ocean, the Mayans had their own mysteries. Their mathematical systems included the concept of zero, something Europe wouldn't grasp for centuries. Their astronomical predictions were so accurate they could forecast solar eclipses thousands of years into the future. And yet, they had no telescopes, no known computers. Did they inherit knowledge from a forgotten advanced culture? Even more bizarre is what we've found under the sea. Off the coast of Japan lies Yonaguni, a submerged megalithic site that looks like a sunken city. Massive staircases, terraces, and symmetrical walls carved from stone. Geologists claim it's natural. Divers and engineers say, no way, it's clearly man-made. If true, Yonaguni rewrites everything we thought we knew about history. Let's revisit the ancient Egyptians. Their understanding of electricity may have been more than symbolic. On the walls of the Temple of Hathor, there are carvings that look uncannily like light bulbs connected to power cords. Researchers call it the Dendera light. What if the ancients had light before Edison? There's also the mystery of Mercury, yes, liquid mercury, in ancient sites. At Teotihuacan, deep beneath the Pyramid of the Feathered Serpent, archaeologists discovered underground rivers of liquid mercury. Mercury was also found beneath ancient Chinese pyramids, allegedly to simulate star maps. In the modern world, mercury is used in high-frequency tech and energy manipulation. Could mercury have been used in ancient energy systems we've yet to comprehend? And what about maps? The Piri Race map, drawn in 1513, shows Antarctica before it was covered in ice. How could a 16th century mapmaker know what the continent looked like under ice that's been frozen for 6,000 years? The map's creator claimed it was based on even older source maps. Was there once a global seafaring civilization lost to time? Let's talk about language. The Sanskrit Vedas, some of the oldest texts on Earth, describe flying machines called Vimanas. These weren't just myths. They included specs, metals used, propulsion methods, even battles in the sky. One passage describes a craft rising on columns of fire and mercury engines. Were ancient scriptures describing real aerial technology? We can't forget India's Iron Pillar of Delhi, which hasn't rusted in over 1,600 years despite being exposed to the elements. Its composition remains a metallurgical marvel. Modern scientists have struggled to replicate the precise mixture used to prevent corrosion. This suggests a lost knowledge of advanced metallurgy. How many other materials have we lost to history? Across the globe in Peru, Nazca lines, those massive geoglyphs only visible from the air, still puzzle archaeologists. They depict animals, geometric shapes, and strange humanoid figures. The purpose? Unknown. They can only be fully appreciated from the sky. Were these giant messages to gods or someone flying overhead? Now, let's talk about ancient batteries. The Baghdad battery is a clay jar with a copper cylinder and iron rod, discovered in Iraq and dated to 250 BCE. It could have produced small electrical currents when filled with vinegar. Mainstream archaeologists say it was used for electroplating. Was electricity known far earlier than we thought? Even in Cambodia's Angkor Wat, satellite imagery reveals hidden cities beneath the jungle. These cities had sophisticated hydraulic engineering systems, reservoirs, canals, water management, miles long. They planned for floods, droughts, and sustainability. Modern urban designers are studying it today. Were ancient people better city planners than we give them credit for? Let's get even weirder. In Egypt, there are sarcophagi at Serapeum that are so massive, 100 tons each, they defy explanation. They're carved from a single piece of stone, with mirror-smooth interiors and laser-like corners. Some believe they were used for burial. Others think something else. Could they be remnants of a tech we can't even recognize anymore? There are also myths of knowledge vaults. From the Hall of Records, beneath the Sphinx, to the lost library of Alexandria, places said to contain records of the world before the flood. What if these myths are true? What if history isn't just missing pages, but entire volumes? How much of our past has been erased or deliberately hidden? Even modern scientists are starting to take ancient tech seriously. Engineers, material scientists, and independent researchers are replicating ancient methods, and often failing. Attempts to recreate Egyptian pyramid construction using copper tools fail to reproduce results. Archaeoacoustics studies show ancient temples were designed for sound manipulation. What if history isn't linear, but cyclical? That's the ultimate twist. Maybe we're not the pinnacle of progress. Maybe we're rediscovering what the ancients once knew. Cataclysms, wars, or environmental collapse may have wiped their legacies, leaving behind clues we're only now starting to decode. What if we are the ones playing catch-up? If these findings are real, then our entire understanding of human history needs a rewrite. From ancient power sources to mysterious maps, lost alloys to precision architecture, there's a growing body of evidence that suggests the ancients were not primitive, but profoundly advanced. The only question is, how much are we missing and who's hiding it? Was history more advanced than we think? Or are we only just beginning to remember?